Alright, this is a reservation system created with Laravel. Let me show you what it does. To make a reservation of room, you just need an account. So without account, you won't be able to book. You can see the book now button is disabled. So you have to either log in or register. Since I'm a new user, I have to click on register. So I'm going to name this as John, and the phone, some random phone number, and the email which is required to log in. Email and password is going to be same. Click on book now. Now you see a message saying that registered successfully. Now you can click on login to log in. I'm going to use the same credentials which I have created while registering. Click on login now. Now I'm logged in. Since I have not made any reservation, the dashboard is blank. So to make a reservation, click on book now, and now you can see the book now link is active, and you can visit the dashboard by clicking on this dashboard. So let me book the E2, and this is the date of reservation from 18th to 25th, and the number of adult is going to be 2, the number of children is going to be 2. Click on book now. Since I have made the first reservation, you can see John with the phone number, the name of the room, the check-in date and check-out date, and the status is pending. The status is pending because the admin has not approved, rejected, or made it as a complete. So I'm going to log in as an admin. So let me open incognito mode. So the URL for admin login is, now I'm going to log in as an admin. So here the admin is UI Monk. Now in the dashboard you will see all the requests. So you can see the John has made the request right now. So you can see, if you want this to make it as an approve, click on approve. Now it is approved. Now I am getting back to the John's account and going to refresh this link, and it says approved. And in case if you want as an admin to reject the request, you can click on reject, and in the status it's rejected. The same way for the John, if I make a request, refresh of page, you'll see the status as rejected. The same way, if John wants to make another request, click on book now, and he can make the reservation again for just 2 days, and click on book now. Now this request will send to the admin. If we make a refresh of this page, you can see John has made a request again, and the status is pending. And again you can make this approve. Now I am getting back to the John's account, and it says the request is approved. Likewise, if you want to make one more account, you can just create an account by getting into the register, and in this time we can make this name as David and some random phone number, email @gmail.com, and the password the same way. I'm logging in with the account. No request made since it's new account. Let's just make a request, some random dates. Click on book now, and now getting into the admin's account, and David has made a request, and let me mark this as complete, and in the David account that would be reflected as the status as complete. So again, if I make a logout and try to access the dashboard, I won't be able to access because I have created a middleware. It would say login or register to access dashboard. The same is true for the admin. If you click on logout and try to access the admin dashboard, you will see login or register to access admin dashboard. Again, I have added the validation. So if you try to register, it's register. If you try to click on book now without filling data, you will see the validation as well. So tutorial and source code available on my YouTube channel. And if you are new to this channel, you can start learning Laravel from the playlist. So this playlist starts from the absolute beginner to the intermediate level. So in this case you are learning Laravel, so you need to get into that Laravel playlist, And here I have approximately 30 videos, and if you are a very beginner, I would suggest you to start from episode number 1 and reach till here. And now we are, I can mute this, and right now we are at the episode number 30. So we have seen installing form validation, and we are at the stage where we are able to convert the HTML template into Laravel template and add validation, and then use the Laravel's authentication system and use the middleware to block the URL. So we at episode number 30, you can confidently say that what are all things what I've said previously, you can confidently say you can do that. So let's just, I would be upgrading this playlist every week, so enjoy the process. Alright, you can download the template of this booking form from this URL, which is colorlive. You can click on this download and start along with me. Along with this link, I'll link the source code of the project which I have created in the description. In case if you got stuck somewhere, just copy paste it and start. Alright, let's start installing Laravel. First of all, make sure you have a XAMPP and it is running. The Apache and MySQL are running, and let's just get into CMD so that we can install Laravel. Now I have saved all the files in the C drive, so I have to navigate to the C drive, change directory XAMPP, change directory htdocs, and here we have Laravel projects, and over here I'm going to create a folder called book2, and in the book2 I'll be installing the Laravel. So this is the code for that. Enter. I'm telling the composer create a project, and the project download the Laravel folder and name it as book2. The preferred version is 8.6.3. It would take some time to download the Laravel folder and place it into our book2 folder. Let's just wait, and after that we need to install some of the requirement like Laravel UI package and bootstrap authentication, and then we have to run the npm install and run dev, and finally npm run dev. Let's just wait and let's just see until it loads. Now once the installation is done, you have to get into that folder. Here in this case it's book2, and now we have to install Laravel UI package, and then we have to install Laravel authentication, and then Laravel authentication, and then it would say you have to run npm install and run dev. You can see over here it says to run these two codes, and at first you won't see the table. Until you see the table, you should run the npm run dev code again. I'll just show you in a minute. And now, as I said, the table, you can't see the table. The table has not shown up yet in the command prompt. Until you see it, you have to run this npm run dev, and let's just skip enter, and you will see the table in the end. So that assures that your Laravel is completely installed, and you can proceed to the next step. And now you see the Laravel is properly installed. So let's just create another command prompt so that we can write the code from one command prompt and make the other command prompt working the live server. So for that, we need to type php artisan serve. So this will open a IP address where you can see your current project. So actually this should be the welcome page, home, and these are the login page, and these are the register page. So you can see that it is properly loaded with the CSS and JS. It's because we have added authentication file along with Laravel UI package. If you miss either one of the two commands which we have done while installing, you won't see this proper login and register page. I hope that is clear. Now since we have created the Laravel, now it's time to create the database. You have to get into phpMyAdmin. So before that, you have to make sure your XAMPP is running and your MySQL is running. And by the time it loads, what we can do is let's just open another command prompt and cd ... Let's get into the folder which we have created right now, which is book2, and inside Laravel projects we have cd book2, and let us load the Visual Studio Code. If I press code and dot and Visual Studio Code, this command prompt will open our Visual Studio Code, and in the Visual Studio Code you will see the book2 would be loaded. So let's just wait, and our PHP myadmin also loaded. Now click on new. We'll just give the name similar to our folder name. In this case it's book2. Click on create, and we have to link our database with our Laravel folder. So click on env file, and here you need to give your database name. So the reason for linking is when you type command on the command prompt, Laravel will create database, Laravel will create table using the migration code which we will be creating in this video. So here by default you will have my database, and inside database you will have a file called I think it got closed. Laravel will have a folder called database. Inside database you will have migration folder. Inside migration folder you will have some 4 files. So those 4 files will be converted. Those 4 files will be of PHP code, will get converted into tables. It's because of the command which you will be typing, php artisan migrate, and that's the reason we are linking our folder with our database, so that it knows where to create table. Here in this case it's going to be book2. Book2 is the database. So as you see, book2 in the env file dv connection, here you have database, so we have to give the database name as book2, and that is done. We have linked the database. Now what we need to do is we have to look for the routes. We just need to understand how routes work. When I type login, or let's type home, what Laravel will do? Laravel will get into the folder called routes in the web.php, and it will see when there's a call for home, what Laravel will do. Laravel will get into the controller called home controller, which you can find in app http controller home controller. And as of now, let me just comment the code for middleware. We'll see why middleware is there later on this video when the time comes. Now as of now, when there's a call for home, which is the URL, it will get into the controller. The controller has a function called index. This is the controller, and the function called index is there, and in the index function it is returning a view. So view is nothing but the HTML file which they have converted into Laravel with the extension .blade. So let's just see where this view is. This view you can find it in the resources, views, and over here home.blade.php. So now since we have commented the middleware, you will be able to access the home. It says you're logged in. So if you want to do something different, so let's say welcome UI monk, so it will just show you welcome UI monk. I hope this is how the Laravel works. So since we have installed authentication package, you will see the register and login page is already created in the resources folder. So resources, views, you will see auth. So here we have login, here we have register, and if I make some modification in the login, let me just remove these codes from login and register. If I try here, it would be blank. Now it's time for converting our HTML into the Laravel. So let me just open. I'll leave the link for this file in the description. Over here you will find we have in the database, we have a folder called Ep35. Over here we have some HTML. Let's just open book HTML. So this is the booking system, and this is for login, and this is for register. So if I press Ctrl O and copy the URL link, and if I get into Visual Studio and press Ctrl O and paste the URL over here and get into login, We just copy the code and paste it inside login.blade.php. The same way, let me just Control O and click on register. Copy the register code and paste it in register.blade.php. And if I load it in the Laravel, it will just show you the HTML but not the CSS. So for the CSS to properly work, and in the HTML I have properly managed in such a way that all the required files for loading HTML is inside this asset folder. So let me just copy it and let me just get into the folder called book2, which we have created right now. Let me just make it as a quick access. In the book now, we need to paste it inside the public folder, and let's just name it front end. And inside the front end, you have to paste your assets. And this isn't enough, and you have to properly link it into your login page, login and register. And here we just have only one. Let me just close this. We don't have any script file here, luckily. We are going to use the Laravel code. So whenever you use Laravel code, you have to use this symbol, which is laid as set is the default function name. And we know our folder is inside front end. And since we have opened the single quotes, close the single quotes, close the round bracket, close the blade. The same way, copy this and paste it over here. Copy this and paste it over here. And now in the login, let's just try login. Of course, front end. You see the login works. The same way, these two files are same, so the head part is going to be same. Let me just copy the whole thing and paste it over here. And what about book? We can again create a new file inside auth. So book.blade.php. Again, we need to paste the code for book, which is inside episode number 35. Copy the whole code and paste it. And of course, here you would be seeing a problem here. If I want to change one file, all the files I have to change it manually. So to avoid that, what we can do is we'll create a common header and footer file. So PHP is known for including files from another file. So here we'll create a single file called, let's just create a new folder first called layout, and inside layout we'll create a new file called app.blade.php. And in the app.blade.php we need to paste the header. So here this is the header part and this is the footer part, and here in between we need to give a passcode. Here in this case I'll give the passcode as container. Now I can easily remove this from other files as well. But we have to give the passcode. We need to find the meat part. Here the original part is this one. We'll call it as meat part. And at the rate section, and we have to give the passcode here in this case container, and we have to end the section. And of course we need to include the file with the help of @extends, and inside the extends we will have access till views. Inside resources, inside views, inside auth we have layout, and then we have app. Since it's Laravel, we don't have to provide .blade.php. Now you have to do this for all the other files. Of course, end section is also mandatory. Now if I see register, it would work fine. Now the front end is run. Now let's focus on the backend part. So the backend is admin LTE. So you can get the admin LTE. I'll leave the source code in the description. So this is the HTML. What we need to do is, let me just open it. So we would be needing a folder here. So let's just create a folder in the views and call it as dashboard, and inside the dashboard we need a file and call it as index.valid.php. So over here we can paste our HTML. Admin LT in the sidebar I have added. Okay, index. Copy the whole code and paste it. And of course we need to add the assets into our book2 public folder. And over here you can create a new folder and call it as backend. And inside the backend we can paste it. So by the time it gets pasted, what we need to do is we again need to link with backend asset folder and Laravel blade. And close the single quotes, close the round bracket, close the blade. The same way for the script, single quotes, round bracket, blade. Now you can't directly call book. In this case you need to create a controller. Let's create a controller so that we can call the book. Here we need two controllers. The first one is front end and the other one is back end. So once you type this code, Laravel will automatically create the file for the controller in the app http controller. So here we have backend and here we have frontend. And let's just define the URL for login. So this is for login, register and dashboard. Customer/login. So these are the URLs which we are specifying. Customer/register and dashboard, just dashboard. So the relevant function in the controller for the control backend and frontend. Backend is there, frontend. Call this frontend. So login and register is from frontend. So actually controller is over here. And for dashboard it's backend. So the function customer login, customer register, of course one more for book, customer book. And the name of the route is required for in the form. So as of now I will create it for all. So just dashboard, and a function route name also dashboard. So we have to create these functions into the relevant controller. What are those? Register, and one more, which is book. We just need to return view, since it's customer login, where you can find it in the resources, views, and then we have auth, then we have login. The same way for register, for book. This is register file and this is book file. Make sure your book is there, and for the backend also we have to create a file for a function which is dashboard, and the dashboard folder has index files. So now we can search for the URL. This won't work. This may work, but this link also, this file can be also accessible with customer login, and the same way customer register. It says 404 not found. Let me see customer register URL is there or not. Customer register, yeah, it's there. And then book, dashboard loads fine. Of course the book also loads fine. So as of now we have successfully converted our HTML file into Laravel, and now we need to create a model. So before creating model, we have to get into law book page, and what are the fields that we need. The first one is what are the fields that we need in the database, so that we can get filled. So this is book. We just need to look for register right now. We'll see book later on. We need name, so these are the four fields that we require to register. So let's just create a model now, and we'll call the name of the model as simply the customer, and the relevant migration files would be created in the database. Migration, it's creating it, I believe. Migration, and you should see ever related to customer, so you can see create customer. Now in this section is responsible for having your columns. So here in this case, the column that we need are of course name, phone, and email, and finally password. These are the four fields that we require. So once this is done, you can type php artisan migrate. Now all the files which is over there would get converted into table. So let me just get into php click on structure. The table that we need to focus on is customer. Along with customer you will see some files that is created, not yet created. The customer is not yet created, and yes, over there we have customers, and these are the fields that we have used in the up function that we can see in the name as a column name, phone, email, and password. So once this is done, in the register, we don't need this. We have to open this register. over here can be register, can be found in the resources, views, routes, sorry, auth, register. And since this is form, we need to have method post, and the form should get submitted to a URL, and that URL you have to mention in the action. Since we are going to use Laravel code, so route, so this is the name of the route, which is register submit. It's Laravel, so the form should have @cross site request forgery, and we have to create, this is the URL, this is the function name, and this is the name of the route. This name we have used it over here. Now we have to create a function, so it's a post. We have to create a function in the front end, so we can accept the input field value using the request $request. Now on form submit, what I want to show is I want to display all input field data. So request all will show all the input field data. Now this should have name, or else you won't be able to see it. Name equal to, the first one is name, actually it's input type text, name, phone, make sure to follow small case, email, and I would recommend the name of the input field should match with your column name, so to avoid confusion. Now if you click on, there's some error, route is not defined. I think I have not saved it. You can see this dot, that means it's not saved. Now if I click on book now, you will see these values are null. This value will only show up when you have or had name attribute. Now what we need to do is we need to add we need to add validation. So to add validation, and here you will see these are the validation, and we have name required, password required, we need email and phone too, that is also required. Along with required, we have some more validation. So this is not the video for that. I have almost created 35 videos earlier in which I have completely covered all the validation required. So as of now, we just need validation, and we want the relevant validation information to be displayed over here. So @error, @end error, and over here dollar, here we're going to use blade $errors first, and we need to pass the name attribute here. Of course in the error also we need to pass name attribute. So name, so once this is done, if you type book now, you will see validation, this name is required. The same way, copy this, paste it for phone, paste it for email, and paste it for password. Make sure to add relevant name attribute, or else you won't get the result that you need. Cool. Now if I click on book now, you'll see all the fields are required. So if you want to modify this text, you can get into the resources, lang, validation, and search for required, and you can just say the name attribute, you can just type this name is required, and save this, refresh it, click on book now, you will see name required, phone required. So this is coming from this file. Control W to close. So I don't know why this has opened. Cool. Now the validation part is also done. It will not allow you to send until you enter all these values. So once you enter all these values, we want to receive all the data and store it into a variable called data, and receive all the input field and store it to a variable called data, and we need to import the session, the hash, and the relevant controller, relevant model, here in this case customer. So here we will be using customer model. The hash is required for converting your text-based password to your hash-based password, and the session for sending uh, message between two pages, and its customer model. I am passing name, password. We don't need the sender. We need email, phone, and that's it. I am converting the text-based password to hash-based password because of the class I have imported earlier. And once this is done, I want to send the message to the same register page saying that registered successful. So here, sending them to the same page. Here in this case is, what is the route that we have given for the register is this one. Send with the message saying that registered successful. Now we have to catch this message in the register page. Just get into the button, and here we would be creating a row call 12, and inside 12 you will be showing a message with alert, ALERT, with alert success. Here will show the message. Along with the message, we want to show the login button also. So this will only show when there is session. If there is session, then only show this section @end if. So if there is session, then show the session also. Get the message, and this message is nothing but we have passed it as a variable, as a key. This is key, and we are accessing the key. And for the login button, @href. So for the login URL, we have given this as this. So this is the URL for login, and class vtn success and login. So this section will only show up when there is account creation is done. So let me just give Vishal phone number, some random phone number, email address vishal@gmail.com, and the password is same. Click on book now. And fillable property, we are assigning a mass assignment. So whenever we do a mass assignment, we have to make sure we are mentioning it in the mid model. So just like we have here fillable, we have to create this fillable here. We have name, email, and one more thing, which is phone, and that's it. Get back, fast name, small case, password, book now, and it says session. We are getting the message, but we are not. We should be making this inside Blade, since this is Blade code, and that is working as we thought. And then if I click on login, you should see the login page. So fine, that is working. That's good news. The same way, we have to create the login submit, and this is the function name, and this is the name. And the same way what we did for the register, we have to do it in the login also. What we have done, we have given the email error here. This is for error email, and this is for the error for password. Of course, we'll be adding validation. Along with that, the form attribute, the login submit, and we have to create this function called login submit. We have to do the same process, just change the name, and the validation here we just have only two values, name and email and password. and let's just check. If I click on book, sorry, it should be login. Refresh, click on login, you should get error saying that email and password is required. So once this is done, we have to check, we have to receive the values of the input field, not all. Here we would be adding only. Here this is it, we have only email and password. Once we get the email and password, we need to use the where clause so that we can get the email and password. We're checking with the model with the where clause. If the email matches, then we are saying match the email and match the hash based password, and if it is successful, show the message. If it's incorrect, then redirect them to the same login page and give the message customer login. I believe it's case sensitive. This is the name of the route, and message, we can give the message saying that invalid credentials. Now if I try to access it with some wrong value which is not in the database, here in this case uimonk@gmail.com, it's not yet created, so you should get the message saying that invalid credentials. I'm not getting the invalid credentials here. I believe I have not named the input field, which is email and password. And of course, if there is any success session message, I need to show that as well over here. If there is any message, I want them to be shown over here as danger, which is invalid credentials. Let's just refresh again and try uimonk again. You should get the message invalid credentials. So if I try something which is right, then what should happen? Then I need to create a session variable. So this session variable will hold only the ID, and now store them, create a session called customer ID and store it. So once we get this customer ID, what will happen is we'll have access to this whole row. So we can access name, phone, email, password whenever we need, and this access is page level. We can have access, we can have this session variable to all the pages in the website, since we have put this into the session variable. So once this is done, I want them to redirect to the dashboard, and let's just redirect them to the dashboard. Now if I log in with the credentials, which is Vishal, which is the right one, we should get redirected to the dashboard, and of course session is created. So I'm redirecting to the home. So this is the URL. So we can see customer/dashboard in the front end. The route customer dashboard, the name of the route, and we are giving the URL, so which is customer dashboard. So now let's check. Yes, customer dashboard. So cool. Now once we have logged in, of course we need a login button. So to add a login button, you have to get into the in your resources, views, dashboard, index, and search for logout. I hope we need to add logout button here somewhere. Over here we have a section called navbar. Here we can place this CUS customer logout, and yes, we need to create the logout customer, this is the URL, this is the function name, and this is the name of the route. And in the front end we have to define that URL, sorry, function name, and now we need to send them, we need to erase the customer ID which we have created and send them back to the URL called login customer. So login customer, once we click on logout. So let's try to log in. UI Monk, so actually Vishal is the right one. Login, and if I click on logout, I should get back to the get is not supported. This is get. Click on logout, you should be redirect back to the home page. And if I try to access the dashboard, customer dashboard, I'll be able to access it. So to stop that, we need to create a middleware. Let's just create a middleware, and over here we need to create a middleware, and we'll name the middleware as customer check authentication. Click enter, and middleware is created. You can find the middleware in the app http middleware. This is the customer check middleware, and here we need to check whether the session is created or not. If the session is created, then proceed to the page, or else send them back to the login page with the message. So over here, if the session is created, then only send them to the message, or else send them back to the login page with the message registration is required. Login or register to access dashboard. BOARD. Fine. Now if I try to access, I won't be able to access because I need some more step to be work on. So for that you have to get into kernel, and you have to create the route middleware. Let me just copy this. So this is the name of the class, and this is the nickname for it. So now we need to use a middleware group. So over here I'm creating a middleware group. So inside the function I want to show which URLs need to be restricted. This is the URL that need to be restricted, and this is the relevant middleware that is taking care of. So we have to pass that. So if I try to access, I think there's an error here. Okay, if I try to access the dashboard home directly, we have not included session in the middleware. Over here we have to use session because we are using session here. So if the session is not created, you can see login or register to access the dashboard. So once I log in, now I'll be able to access the dashboard. But once I log out and try to access again, I'll be thrown back to the login page with the error login or register to access dashboard. So we have completed the login system. Now let's just work on the book. So this book, but this book link only should be shown when they have logged in, when the user has logged in. So let's just do that. Let's just check in the book just as we did in the middleware. Just copy this code because this would be useful in the book page. Auth book, and this button you should show only @if @end if @else. So if there is session, then show this button. Of course, along with dashboard, anchor tag, hash dashboard, and let's just try giving the same class. So let's just see whether it works or not. So if there is session, we should see this, else we should see this is for if there is session, then login and dashboard. If there is no, then we need to show two more things, which is login and register. Let's just see, we should see login and register now, and call 12. I think this is enough. We don't have to complicate things. So let me just log in, and I think we don't need this email and phone. So we would be getting this email and phone once the customer gets registered. And we can have a drop down for this, for the room number. Let's just copy this, and let's just make this 12, and this can be room number. Room number. Available AVA available AVAILAVLE available room numbers are 105, 106, 208, 307, 308, 30 whatever. So as of now, it's just values. These are the available values. Selected, disabled. So you won't be able to select or disable. It would be disabled. Now these are the available rooms. So everything seems clear. Now again, we need to show the login also. Show book, but this should be disabled. Padding top of 3, I believe it won't work. Simply we can place them. This is a book, and for non-logged in user, let's have a row, and call 12, call SM12. So this is first row and this is second row. Let the first row have this work button, and let the second row have 6, and of course 6. It may look confusion, but once you see the output, everything will make sense. Login, register, fresh. You can have style, margin top of 15 pixel. Cool, but what we need to do is we have to make this disabled. Let's just do that. So over here, this should be DISAVLED disabled, and let's add a style here. Button with class disabled. We should make user select none, and cursor as stop, and opacity 0.1. let's just see, 0.5 something, and cursor none. Now you won't able to access it because you need to log in or register. So let's just give a message. For the non-logged in user, let's have a span, login or register to book a room. We can give, let's check, do we need some styling? Yes, we need style. Font weight 900. Since it's span, we can make this display block so that we can use text align center. Cool. Login or register to book a room. So again we can have this over here, just above button. So either you have to log in or you have to register to book a room. Cool. Now this making sense. Now let's just check after login whether we are able to see uh, this is the right username and password, and let's just check book, and book now and dashboard you can see this, but there seems to be, we can reuse this over here, and here we have book room, book a room, and then we have register or dashboard. Refresh it. I think, or just say book now. Okay, book now and dashboard, but we have to use the route also. Use the blade route for the dashboard and route for the book now link. So we don't need this kernel, front end we need it, index don't need, book, front end, close all unrelated stuff so that we can only focus on the book and the web.php, whereas we don't need this kernel also. So in the book, so this is book now, so where is book, what is the name of the route? Here it's customer book, and for dashboard the name is customer dashboard, and for login and for register also customer register and customer login. Cool. Now I'm logged in now. Let me just click on book. Okay, now we have to change this. So where we can get this in the dashboard, your room, here it's room, and on the first you can see your just bookings, and the second one book now, your bookings, or you can say request, your request what you have made while booking, and book now. If I click on book now, we should see the URL for book now. So actually in the book now here it should be something different, but I'll show you while submitting. So book now, and here we'll create a link later on. So book now, it will take you to the book, and dashboard again you are in the dashboard, book now. So now let's work on this validation. So over here book, let's have this row at the top. Alright, now let's work on the submission. So before submitting we want the table to be created, so let's just create the table for that. So now we need to create a model, so book room, or just say book to make this shorter. And now the migration table would be created, or the file would be created in the database migration, and look for table, and here again we need to create the column. Let me just copy this and paste it over here. Of course ID is required for primary, so we have room, we have check-in, checkout, adult and children. And along with that we need to send, of course, while registering what all data we had. Actually it's not request, it's register. While registering we had name, we need phone, we need email, we don't need password. Now this data, this form just have a room, check-in, checkout, adult and children, but these data will be getting this, these data will be getting it from the session. Cool. Once this is done, what we have to do is php artisan migrate, and once migration is done you should see a table named book, and it should have the columns which we have specified. Alright, now that's done. Now we have to create the post method, so let me just copy this, and it's going to be book submit, the function and the name of the route. On submit, in the book we should have while submitting, so this is the right one, so this is book submit. When you click on this submit, all the data should get sent to the controller called frontend, because we have mentioned frontend, app controller frontend. So we can reuse the code which we have used while sending or while registering. Just copy this code and paste it one more time. Here it's going to be book submit, and as of now let's just see the data that we are able to receive or not using the PHP function dump and die and all, which will have all the info. Now if I try to click on book now, all the data to get is not supported. Actually in the function, let me just copy this register, and we have to reuse the same code for the form. Where is the form? It's over here. It's going to be book submit CSRF token method post, and let's try again. Book now, get is not supported. Yes, we have post, and in the web.php again it's a post, book submit, so not supported, supported method is post. Refresh it. Now click on register, sorry, book now. So you should see the error over here. Actually there seems to be a problem. We don't need to have anything here because data we would be sending it over here. That's why it shows it is get. And we need to use the code for the submit that we have added, so it's button. So over here just add button for book now. So we'll fix this later on. Click on book now. So these are required fields, that's why, where is the REQ? So you can see the mentioned required is required. Required is mentioned, that's why it's not allowing me to send. So if I click on send, so as of now we could only receive the token because we haven't mentioned the name attribute. So for the room, this should be the name attribute. So get into the room, name attribute, name equal to room, and for check-in this is the name attribute, and for checkout date, this is name attribute, and for adult and for children, these are the name attribute. And now if I try to submit, I should see all the values. Some of them are null. We have to fix that. So we can take this request out. So what all things that we have, we need check. This is check-in is required, checkout is required. Later on, anyway, these two are gonna have full. The name attribute is not showing up. Let me see room. Room is not showing up. Anyway, room is also required. Refresh it, and it will not allow me to submit because we have added validation, and before validation this code is running. Actually this is selected and this does not have a value, that's why there is no value. You can see, you should see, refresh this, click on book now, and you should see room. This A1 is selected by default. We need to have JavaScript validation, but as of now I'm skipping this JavaScript validation. Cool. Now the same way we need to show, if there is error, then show the error. Just below here, the room, if it is blank, then only it will show. For check-in, for checkout, these are the name attribute. The same way for adult, the name attribute, and for children, the name attribute. And if there is no data, see some of the fields are blank by default all of them are filled. Check-in and checkout is blank. So now we can confidently remove this. So we can see the validation message just below the dates. Check-in is required. If I make a check-in, checkout is required. You should see checkout. Cool. Now what we need to do is we need to send all the values to the database called book. So let's just call the model book, and with the help of book we'll be passing the check-in date, checkout date. Actually checkout does not have validation, that's why it didn't show up. Checkout date and room, and rest of the data which you will be receiving: email, phone and name from this session. So let's just get these values from the session. First of all, we are getting the session which we have created while logging in and saving into customer ID, and with the help of the customer model, so let me just call the customer model 2. With the help of customer model, I am finding the customer data, and just a validation: if there is no customer, then I think customer would be there. We don't need this. And get the data, and now with the help of this customer data we can populate the columns: name, email and phone. So we have populated it. So once this is done, we can redirect them to a new page called customer request, and again we create customer request just like the dashboard. Just copy this, and this is going to be customer request, and customer request is URL, the name, and now we need to create a file just like we create a dashboard. Resources, views, dashboard. We can make this duplicate if the option we don't have, so we can make this new file and request.blade.php, or just say all request.blade.php. So you can copy all the relevant dashboard code over here, or if you want to make this, create a new folder called layout, and inside the layout, just as we did, app.blade.php, and again we can have the meat part here till our aside. Just copy this and paste it in app, and go for footer, just copy this and paste it over here, and at the rate yield, and we can give the name container again, and since this is all request, at the rate extends dash board dot layout dot app, and at the rate section, the passcode is container, and at the rate end section, copy this code and give it to the index also. So I don't think we need the index, so let's see. So this is, we need to send them to the all request. So in the web.php, let me just simply close. In the web.php, so this is the function that we need to create just to show the view. So when there's a call for this function, it should simply return, let me just copy the code, view, just copy this. It is just going to show the view of the customer request where it is in dashboard, then we have all request. So in the front end, after data is created, we should say that booked successfully. So we need to show this message in the all request, just in this place. So here what we can do is, we need to have code for message. Maybe our request have session, we can copy this session, or simply copy the whole and request. If there is message, then display the message in the alert message, and that's it. So now we can check the book. Since if I'm logged in, I will be able to dashboard.layout of app not defined. Let me see in the dashboard, which is index and all request, at the rate extends, we have dashboard, we have layout. So inside views we have dashboard, we have layout, and then we have app. Yes, what is the wrong here? Dashboard layout dot app not found. Spelling board. Usually these typos are because I am talking and doing the work same time. So I am logged in now. So if I log out and look for book I should see login first. So let me just log in with the Vishal user ID, Vishal email account, invalid credentials, Vishal, again Vishal, login. Now let me just click on book, and if I make a book, and let me make this as default, click on book now. If there is no error, actually there is error, book now, check in and check out is required, so let me just give check in and check out, click on book now. Maybe there could be a chance. Where are the requests? In the front end, we are filling these data. So the same way, the book is there. Make sure you have installed a book. So in the model, we have book, and we have to make the fillables. What all data need to be filled: name, email, phone, along with check-in, checkout, room, and that's it. So there could be an error also. Click on book now. These two are required. I'm not seeing an error. If you don't see any error, what you can do is you can cross check this with validator. Dump and die. Refresh this. These two are null. Okay. So let me just fill these values. Check in and check out. Maybe it could be because of this simple spelling mistake. Cross checking whether we are able to receive data from the session. Just comment this, refresh now. Yes, I found the culprit. What all things? I think we don't need this. You can comment this also, and let's try for 1 week. Field does not have a default value. So check in, check out. Okay, we have not mentioned in the fillables. We have not mentioned adult and children. And also we have not received the adult and children from the book. Adult, let's cross checking the spelling. Children, the same way we should get children and we should get adult. Now try filling it again. Customer is not defined. So over here, customer request, this is the function, and again customer request is the does not exist. Again it should be fronted, I believe. Sorry, mistakes. And yes, registered successful. Now over here you could see the data filled. We don't need this. We don't need this. Cool. Now we have successfully shown that the user is registered. Now in the all request, you should display all the requests. Right now we just need to focus on two things. The first one is we need a column called cust ID in the book along and a status. So let's just click on structure, and we need to create two more columns. So add two more columns before, so we can say after children. This is the place. So the first column should be cust ID. Cust ID, and let's just make this a small case. Let this be integer, and let the default, we don't need any default value. And the second one is status, and the default value as defined, which is blank, and this can be varchar and 256. Click on save. Now if you click on browse, we can delete this. And by the way, we need to send the cust ID also in the, we have a variable called cust ID, a column called cust ID, and we'll be sending the sessions customer ID over here. And in the book.php we have to fill the cust ID also. Cool. And let's just check inserting the value. Let's just book now, and from 5th to 20th, click on book now. Register successful, and we should see cust ID is 1 and status is blank. And now since we have customer ID, now we need to, while displaying this, we need to send the data. Here in this case, the single row, how we can access single row? With the help of the book table, we can use find, and we can pass the session, which is get session, and we can pass the customer ID over here, and we'll be getting the book data. And now we can send the book data value. Here the thing is, instead of find, we need to use the where clause, where cust ID, here in this case it's small case for us, and send them to the all request function, all request file. This is over here with this variable, and we can access this @ for each dollar as single book @ end for each. So we can just display the name. It's a blade name. Let's just check in the dashboard. We should see book car is not defined, the controller. It's just book, and we have Vishal. So right now we are able to access the name, what all things that we need to display. We need name, we need phone, we need email, we need room, we need check-in, we need checkout, and is there any adult, is there any children, and the status. these are the datas, and the same way we need to get into a bootstrap table. Get a bootstrap table. I know I made a spelling mistake, but Google is smart enough to show the result even if we make this as a spelling mistake. So get the whole table. We'll be using data table now. Display it. We don't need the repeating t bodies. We can remove this, and yes, we just need name, and we need phone. Email is not required because you know your email and your phone, and the room that you have booked. Since you are a customer, I don't want you to I don't want the name, the email also, because you know your name and email because you have filled it. Room and check in, check out. Check in and check out can be in a single row. Adult, children can be in a single row, and then we have status. Cool, these are th, and for table row we'll use the for each inside table row. Get the table data, again get the table data, and where all tr should be there. We need phone, we need email, we don't need email, we don't need name, we need room, we need check-in and check out to be in single line, and admin and children, adult and children should be in children line, single line, and status. Phone and all things, and let's just see whether we are able to display this in the form of table. Actually here we have missed this round bracket. That could be the reason why we are not able to see the output. Yes, phone number and the status. And if I make a book again, in this case A2, the date, some different date, 2 adults, 2 children's. Click on book now, and you can see 2 adults, 2 children's, the date and the room. Cool, we are able to see. Now what if I make a register from different account? So we need a register, and we'll make this Vishal2, a phone number, some random phone number, vishal2@gmail.com. the same way. Click on book now. Now you can log in with the credentials which we have used. Now let me make a request from Vishal2 1926, 3 adults, 2 children's. Click on book now, and this is for Vishal2. And if you want, you can make the name also, or else it looks confusing little. Name. Now you should see name, phone, email. Now let's just implement the data table. You can just type data table and CDN. So the place to the right place to have the CDN is the head tag. So link not working. Let's copy this. The same way for JS, duplicate this, and make sure to place your code for the table to be below this line, or else it won't work. I think it has not copied it properly. Copy, paste, and dot table. And if I make the refresh, you should see data table. Yes, you can see the data table here. And if you want, you can make this default as pending just by clicking on structures and status, click on edit or change. You can make this as defined pending. Click on save. Now if you make a refresh, you should see the status as pending. So in the browse, let's just edit this pending and pending, because we have already inserted it, that's why. Now I hope this is clear. Let me just log out and check from the user Vishal, and Vishal has two request, so we can fix this as well. So in the web.php or in the dashboard, we can have request what web.php. So this is the URL or the name of the route. Get into app, and in place of request, here we should have this customer request. And if you click on the request, and here you go, and by default customer slash dashboard, here also we can show the request. In the front end, I think we close all because some little getting confusion. Where we are displaying dashboard, the SHVO. There should be one view which will just say dashboard. I think it's in backend, I believe. Yes, in the backend. The same way, we don't need another backend, sorry, dashboard, DASH. So instead of backend, what we can do is we can take them to the front end, and the function is this one and this one. Now even if customer search, you will get the request as a dashboard, as a home page. Previously we had a home page. Now this is not a home page anymore, it's the place where you see all your requests. Cool. Now what we need to focus on is we need to create a customer ID. It's already done. Now we need to create a new login page for the admin. So over here in the routes, sorry, in the resources, in the views, in the auth, we can make a file called admin login.blade.php, and we can use the same code for the admin login, and as an heading we can make this admin login. Of course here it's going to be admin submit, and let's just do this. This is for login submit, and this is for admin login, admin slash login, and this is admin submit, admin login function, admin submit function. Nothing, just the same way what we did for the login. We are going to use it the same for the where is the login function or customer login. We can just make a duplicate of this, and here it's going to be admin login, and the auth inside we have this file admin login, and login submit. You can make a duplicate of this and call it as admin submit. Anyway, again we are going to have name, password and email. Here we are going to check with the user model, and let's just import user model now. Cool. And we are checking the email. Here only one thing is we are going to use the user model, and yes, where user, we will be getting the user. This is user email. You can see we are getting the user email and we are passing the password, and instead of admin ID, customer ID, here it's going to be admin ID. So here we can pass, where we'll just name this as email. Anyway, we are going to get the whole row, not just the email, the whole row, and we can give the ID to this, and we can redirect them to the dashboard. Again, I think we need to create the dashboard for them, and admin login page again should show if there is invalid credentials. This is admin login. Yep. And then we have admin dashboard, which we need to create right now. Let's just create the dashboard for admin in the resources, in the views, in the dashboard, and create a new file, call it as admin dashboard.blade.php. We can copy all request values to admin dashboard, and you will get an error saying that this is not there at all, and we'll do that in a minute. As of now, admin dashboard, we have to add this URL admin dashboard and the relevant controller, relevant function admin dashboard and the URL. So in the front end we need to call the admin dashboard function, and what it will show, it will simply return the view for the dashboard. It is going to be similar to this function. So it is going to return dashboard, inside dashboard, resources, views, dashboard, we have admin dashboard, and the data that we will be receiving, since we have used the session which is user ID we have created here, if you remember, while logging in, login submit, admin submit, where is the session? It's admin ID. We can have this admin ID over here, and this is admin ID, and we need all the values. So get is the function, or simply what we can do is we can make this, we can get all book data values, which should be similar to our variable which we have used, book car data. Okay, it's not a car, it's a roam, so even though it's just a variable change, we'll keep it as it is, and the function model is this one, and we are getting the ID by descending order and sending them back to where, to the admin dashboard with this data. And let's just check, since, so before that we need to create the user for admin, book 2 users, we have to insert the value, insert. So we'll name the user as admin as uimonk, and email uimonk@gmail.com, and the password also uimonk@gmail.com. click on save. Now we can try to access the admin login, and it says admin login. Cool. And let me try by giving invalid credentials. Click on login and it says invalid credentials. So if I try uimonk@gmail.com, this is right credentials. It will undefined data. One second, from where it is coming? It's coming from frontend.php line number 98. Frontend.php line number 98. There is data somewhere. It's over here. Data. So here we have not received. Here it's credentials. Cool. Let's just try again. And yes, these are the datas which is available on the dashboard. Browse. So on the books table, these are the data. So you can see on the admin also, all the data are displayed over here. Now let's make this logout work. So here on dashboard, what we will do is we need to create a separate layout. So dashboard, inside dashboard we need to have again a folder called admin. Create a new folder, admin. Inside admin we'll have again new folder called layout. Inside layout we'll again have new file app.blade.php, and we'll copy the same thing what is there inside app.blade.php to our admin. Simply what we need to do is we need to go for logout, logout. Yeah, here logout, instead of customer logout, here it should be admin logout. So for this single change we are making whole section different. So for this also, inside dashboard we have admin. Cool. Now for the web.php, we need to create logout. So again, this is for admin logout, the URL which we have made, the function and the name route. So in the front end log out, we need to do this for admin logout again, and redirect them to admin login, of course, and I think it's admin ID which have made it. Yeah. Now if I refresh this and click on logout, I'm sent back to the admin login page. And if I try to access the admin dashboard, I am allowed to without login. So in this case again I need to create a middleware. So let's just create a middleware now. Create a middleware, I'll name it as check admin authentication. New file, and over here middleware admin authentication, we have to copy the same code and paste it admin authentication. Here the only change is it's going to be admin ID because we have made the variable as admin, and redirect them to admin login and saying that to access admin dashboard, and we have to register this middleware over here. This is the name of the class and this is the nickname, and in the web.php again we need to create a route group that will protect the admin dashboard, and I think admin dashboard, this is the route. If I try to access it again without session, I think we have to import the session over here because we are using session. now try to refresh it. You'll be thrown back to the admin login saying that login or register to access. Now if I try to make it login with the UI monk, I'll have access to it. Now let's work on this update. So over here in the admin all request, so this is for admin. So its status, if you want to make this approve, if you want to make this reject and completed, reject, reject and then completed, or you can say complete. Actually I'm saying this in the wrong file, and this should be in the admin dashboard. So we have three more sections, and we need to have an anchor tag saying that approve it, reject it, or mark as complete. And of course it's a bootstrap. To make this look good, we need to have class btn success, and this is going to be danger, and this is going to be a warning. Cool. And here in the href I have to create a route for that called update. So duplicate this, so you can say update status. So we would be receiving the ID, $ID, and we would be receiving the status. Cool. And this is the function name, and this is the name of the route, and in the front end we need to create a function, and of course we would be receiving two values. The first one is ID, $ID, and the second one is $status. So how we would be sending through a anchor tag, over here in the admin dashboard you can see here we need to write a URL, and with the help of route it's a blade function. This is the function name that we have used in the web.php. Where is the web.php? In the routes, in the web.php you can see this is the function, and the name of the route, of course the name of the route is going to give you the ID as well as the status. So this goes to the reject and the rejected and to the completed. So if you make a refresh, missing parameter route, actually it should come outside $. Let's try. If I make this approve, we are able to display the values. Now what we need to do is we need to update. So with the help of the book, so now with the help of the book model we have to find the ID, and update the status and save it, and then redirect them to admin dashboard saying that status updated. Click on approve. Admin dashboard is not defined. ADMINDASHVOARD. Let's just check. It says .php is not defined. admin dashboard is there. Refresh it. It says approved. If I click on reject, you should see it's rejected. If you click on complete, you should see it's completed. So the same way, I have rejected the request from Vishal. Let's just log in from Vishal point of view. Customer login, and if I check with Vishal's account, because he has made 2 requests, vishal@gmail.com, and one of them is rejected. Cool. I hope the scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening.